Hi friends, welcome to today's video. We've got so many new drugstore launches to talk about today. I'm going to do a full face of all the new products and I'm going to show you the products, the packaging, the formulas, give you my thoughts as I always do. So if that sounds good, then just continue watching. As you can probably tell, my brows are filled in and we're using a new brow product. So you all know, if you've been watching me for some time, how much I love the Super Locke Brow Glue from Maybelline. This was a launch from a few months back. I use this every single day, but it was only available in a clear option. And now Maybelline launched tinted options. Yes, you heard that right. So tinted options for their Super Locke Brow Glue. And I am so thrilled because, like I said, I use this clear one every single day. I love this. It holds the brows perfectly in place. Never gives me an issue, never flakes, never does anything weird. Works well with anything that I put on top of this. It is just such a good product. But now there's a tinted version. I ordered the shade Deep Brown. I thought out of all the shade options that were available in this new launch, that was the shade that I felt like I could make work. And so I'm going to show you how this applies in the brows and show you what it looks like. And you'll see a little bit of a difference when I'm applying this. So this is going straight onto my brows with nothing else. I'm going to comb this through my brows and kind of show you how I lay them down. And like I typically do with the clear option, this is just going to give a little bit of a tint, which is actually kind of nice. So you'll see the difference between doing the tinted brow gel and then nothing else. You'll see the difference between doing the brow with the tinted version and then my naked brow with nothing on. You can see a difference. It's more polished, more groomed, and it does have a little bit of a tint. I am really thrilled about it. I have no complaints. The formula seems to be the same. It's just a tinted version, which is great. So now if you wanted something with some great hold, with a little bit of color, now they've given that to us, so I'm happy about that. So typically what I do is use the clear Super Locke, let that dry, and then go in with my Lift and Snatch brow pen from NYX in the shade Ash Brown. And so that's what I've done. I started off using the tinted gel, let that dry, then went in with the Lift and Snatch on my right side so you can see what that looks like, and that is much more filled in. And I can show you the difference between the brow using the tinted brow gel and the Lift and Snatch pen versus just the tinted brow. So you can see that there is quite a bit of a difference. And I love this brow pen from NYX. It's one of my favorites. I've been using it for years and I have no plans on changing it. So now the combination of the two is just as great as even if I were just to use the clear. I feel like it made my process of doing my brows a lot faster today because I had a base layer of color already going on. So I really didn't have to do a full fill-in, which is great. And it's perfect for this time of the year when you're trying to get ready pretty quickly. You're on vacation, on weekend trips, you want to do your makeup pretty quick. I find a lot of value in using tinted brow gels. So I am a very happy gal today. I am so excited for this next launch because it is from a brand that I absolutely love and adore from the drugstore. It's one of my go-tos. It never disappoints. And it's also a new complexion product. It's the L'Oreal Skin Ink. Yes, they have a new complexion product and I am so excited. I've seen this on social media, but the posts that I've seen were from this product in a different country. So now it's in the United States, which I'm so happy. You can currently order this on the Ulta site and eventually it'll probably be in stores. So I had to pull it up on the Ulta app to tell you all the details about this new product. It is the L'Oreal Infallible Skin Ink 2-in-1 Foundation Concealer. Comes in 22 options for $18.99. In the summary, it says it's a 2-in-1 foundation concealer that has up to 48-hour wear, yet it is light as ink, transfer resistant, waterproof, sweat-proof, and humidity-proof. Well, I'm gonna just tell you, I'm not gonna do the 48-hour test because I don't wear my makeup for that long straight. I do take my makeup off before I go to bed, so we won't be doing that check-in there. It's a patented formula that flexes to move with your skin. It's also lightweight, feels undetectable on the skin, while lasting until you decide to remove. Up to 48-hour transfer. Okay, so I've already read that. So it says also it grips so hard so you don't need a primer, self-setting. So let's go ahead and skip the primer. I don't need a primer. I just read that under the features. I was just reading earlier the summary. And now when you expand that and read more, it says that you don't need a primer. I ordered one shade and you can see through the clear window in the front the color, which is nice. I like that added touch and I also like that red color for the component. So I'm not complaining about the packaging. However, in person, this looks a lot darker than what it looks like online. I ordered Warm Light or Warm Fair Light 40. That is the third shade option in the shade range that looks to be a much more pale, more yellow type of tone. But this looks a little bit deeper. This looks, honestly to me, I would say at least a shade darker than I expected. So if it's not the right shade, we have to just get past that and make it work. It comes with a nice doe foot applicator like you would typically see for a concealer, and it's a rather large doe foot applicator. And let me swatch on the back of my hand. Yeah, this one is going to be a little bit too dark, maybe. That is the Fair Light 40 Warm. With this, you can do the swipes directly onto your skin. I typically don't like to do that, so what I'm going to do is use my hand as a palette. I'm just going to kind of load up the back of my hand with a little bit. I'm going back for a second redip, and then I'm going to use the applicator to spread that so that I can coat my brush nice and evenly. I'm going to work one side at a time. I'm using my It Cosmetics brush. I'm going to get that really nicely coated into my brush. Again, skipping the primer. And I'm going to start kind of tapping this in. And one of the things that you will note, it does have a slightly unpleasant scent, maybe because of the longwear ingredients that are in this product. You can kind of smell it, but as I'm blending, it's starting to go away, so it's not that big of a deal, but you'll notice a scent. And that blended in very, very quickly. And I do think that it does give a nice soft matte finish. So it's not too dry, not too cakey looking, but it's also not dewy and radiant, which I personally like. And I did a very basic and simple streamlined skincare routine today. I did not do any of my extra additives that add moisture and glow to the skin because I knew I was going to test this out today and I wanted to see how this is going to look. So now I'm just going to go back for more because I feel like those two swipes was just the cheek area. So again, we're going to do the same thing and do this other side. And I think the shade is okay. It's not too bad. It just looks a little darker in the component versus it being on. But this actually looks really pretty. And I'm excited because, like I said, L'Oreal is one of my favorite brands at the drugstore. I'm rarely ever disappointed with anything that I try from them. So I had very high hopes and expectations for this. I'm going in for just a little bit more so that I can do the forehead area and between the brows. And I'm hoping that this doesn't oxidize either because then I feel like the shade is definitely not going to work. But if it does, I will kind of annotate that in the description box. Let you guys know how that ends up working out for me, if it changed any colors throughout the day. And if that happens and if it wears well, I will probably most likely order a lighter shade so that I have this product in a more accurate match. But so far, that blended out very nicely with this brush. Now, I will have to try this with a sponge in the future and let you guys know how that works out. Or if any of you watching have this product and use a sponge that's been slightly dampened, please let me know how that turned out. But so far, I like it with the brush. The color is decent. It looks really soft, like a satiny kind of matte. So far, so good. And I'm excited to now have a new complexion product from L'Oreal. And yay, that so far my first impressions, this is actually pretty good. I don't have a new concealer from the drugstore, so because I'm testing out a new complexion product, I like to pair it with products that I know work, products that I absolutely love and adore, and that is this concealer from Estee Lauder, the Double Wear Concealer. It is amazing. I wear shade 1N, so I'm going to use this and set this with the L'Oreal Blurfection Loose Powder. So this is where we're at right now. All I have done off camera is the concealer and setting powder. So the face is just the skin ink. No additional powder, nothing else yet applied. We're going to do blush and bronzer next. So the concealer was that Estee Lauder and then the Blurfection powder. The only powder that I used was directly under the eyes and right in through here because I do blend my concealer down. I take my brush and then I kind of just pat it where it meets up to the foundation. So I like to take a little bit of powder and kind of set right in this area. So basically all this is just been set with powder. Moving on to blush and bronzer. I don't have a new hot off the press drop to share with you today. So what I'm gonna do is pull from the Morphe collections that I've ordered recently. These are the Cheek Thrills and I absolutely adore these. These are new. They're not like brand new. They've been out for a few weeks now. I bought more shades because I love these. I bought one and I reviewed it several weeks back, and my mistake in that video, I stated that I should have just bought more. But I didn't. I started with one. This is your sign to try these. And if you are going to buy them off of my recommendations, pick a couple shades because you're going to love it. So for my bronzing step, I'm actually going to use one of these trios. I'm going to choose the shade called Sunset Swim, and that's the one that has those more kind of bronzy vibes. I'm going to use the cream here with my Makeup by Mario brush to add a little bit of warmth to my skin. And this blush does have a little bit more of a bronzy tone, which is why I'm choosing to use it today. And it does give you a little bit of a kind of slightly dewy kind of finish. There's no shimmer in the cream. Now there is a luminous balm in the center pan and then a satin matching blush at the bottom that's powder. So really cool because you can actually customize your look for the day. You can use one, you can use two, all three if you want. And this color specifically gives a little bit of a kind of bronze goddess kind of vibe, which is why I bought it. And I love how this is set up. It has a clear plastic window, so the fallout from this doesn't fly into your creams. Genius. Kind of similar to what Patrick Ta does with his packaging. And I've always loved that. I've always thought that that was a nice added detail touch that a lot of brands should consider when putting palettes together with creams and powders. Kind of finding a way to keep it from getting all messy, because there is fallout. Not necessarily with this formula though, but other brands, other powders, you know, it happens. I think I'm going to add a little bit of the matching powder over the top just to kind of set that. And I'm going to use a Sigma brush. This is the F11 brush. And I'm just going to pick up a little bit of this. This does have a bit of a kind of satiny kind of sheen to it, but it's so beautiful when this goes on the skin and how it blends. It's just, I love this formula. It's really, really good. You should try it. So far, these cream and powder products from Morphe are blending really nicely over the Skin Ink from L'Oreal. So I'm happy about that. That one of my favorites are actually working with these new Complexion products. I think I'm going to add a little bit of a rosy vibe to the cheeks. So we're kind of going back and forth between these two shades. So Beach Bonfire and Blind Date. I've used Blind Date before. So let's just do the Beach Bonfire, which looks like that. So pretty. And I love this kind of corally pink. And I think what I'm going to do is use just the powder this time. I'm going to go back into that Sigma brush and just pick up a little bit of the powder. And get my brush nicely coated. Tap off the excess. Knock off any extra. And blend right on top. Oh, that is so pretty. I love this one. I think this is going to be one of my new fave combos for this summer. Since we spoke about Maybelline at the start of the video, I wanted to also share with you some newer additions to their line. So they've expanded their Color Tattoo Cream Shadow Sticks. I bought 2 of the new shades. These are on the Ulta app for $9.99. So they have a couple new shades. They have a matte taupe that's new that's called I Am Cozy, a matte cool brown that's called Unapologetic, a rose gold shimmer called I Am Authentic, and a shade that's a mauve shimmer, I Am Cheeky, which is one of the ones that I ordered. That's this one here. I have not taken off the seals off of these yet. And then they also have one, if you scroll through the little color dots to show you, you have to scroll to the very last one, and that's this kind of more warm shade. This is a Copper Rose Shimmer. It's called I Am Spicy. They also have new eyeliners. So these are a little bit different. These are the Dip Ink, so it's kind of like a inkwell where it has a brush applicator. Tattoo Studio Dip Ink Liquid Liner. Comes in 4 shades, $9.99 each. I picked one shade, and it's called Brown Expression. So they have a black, a brown, a burgundy, and a white, which is very interesting, very cool. You can do some artistic things with that. Definitely not something that I would typically wear, so I did not order those shades. I just ordered brown. I use brown or black on most days anyway, so those were $9.99. I've already reviewed some of their additional products, like their Bubble Mascara, the Colossal one, that's been reviewed. If you scroll down on the Ulta app and you filter it by new, you will also see the Lifter Glaze Oil Bombs. I've reviewed those. And they have new shades for their Lifter Glosses. These are the honey ones. So they're the honeyed lip gloss. So these are $10.99, also on the Ulta app. And those new shades come in 5 options. And I just chose one because the colors don't really appeal to me that much. They're kind of like more browny, a little bit deeper. If you like a deeper kind of brown, like maple kind of color, earthy browns, I think you'll really like this line. So I chose one shade, and it's the lightest one, and it's called Toffee, which looks like that. So we'll play with this here in a moment as well. Seals have been taken off of these products. I use tweezers, by the way, so if you're ever kind of fussing with it, use your tweezers and peel it off. The first shade I'm going to show you is called I Am Spicy, and that is that really warm coppery color there. Next is I Am Cheeky, and that is this kind of taupey, purpley shade, which seems perfect for every day. Lids have been prepped with a little bit of eyeshadow primer. It is not a drugstore one. I will still link it for you down below. It's the Too Faced Shadow Insurance. Before I go in with the creams, I do want to put a little bit of color through the crease, and I'm going to go in with one of my go-tos. It actually lives on my vanity now. It's the Bite Size Quad from e.l.f. in the shade I Love You Latte. So I'm going to take this very light, kind of neutrally tan shade here with a big fluffy brush, and I'm just going to run that in my crease really quickly to create some structure and just a little bit of a better shape to my eye. I'm also going to take a little bit of that same brush and just swing that onto the lower lashes really quick. Again, really messy because I'm not really caring too much of how this is going to look on the lower lashes. I'm just going to create a little bit of a light wash of color and then make sure it all connects out here. Really simple and easy. Now let's go in with the I Am Cheeky Cream Shadow Stick from Maybelline. And I'm going to work one eye at a time. I'm going to start by kind of scribbling this really close to the root of my lash. And then I'm going to use my fingers to blend this out. And I would recommend using your fingers to blend this out. A brush isn't really going to move it too much. The warmth of your finger is really going to be ideal for this formula. It is a longwear formula, so it's going to dry down very quickly and it's going to stay in place. I've used this formula before, not this shade, but this formula before. And it's good. It's not my absolute favorite cream shadow stick I have, and I think it's just a shade. I bought like a champagne with a little bit of sparkle, and I didn't really like the way it looked after it was blended. It just looked like really big pieces of glitter. They could have done a better job with that specific shade, so I haven't used it and talked about it in, like, it's been a year. So I'm glad to see that this does not have any sort of glitter sparkle. It's just a metallic kind of sheen, and that blended out really nicely. I'm also going to take that same shade, run that on the lower lashes just to make the look a little bit more cohesive. Again, this is an optional step, but I'm going to get it really close to the root of my lash, rocking it back and forth, and again, using my finger as my tool to blend. So easy, and I love this color. I like that kind of subtle purple tint to it. Let's try out this eyeliner. It may not be the right shade to go with this sort of taupey, purpley kind of color. Honestly, I probably should have done that kind of warm copper shade to pair with this brown liner, but maybe we'll do this copper color in a different video. But that is the swatch of the liquid liner, and it is still currently drying. I did do the swatch off camera, and the swatch is a little sloppy. I do apologize. I am doing this on my non-dominant hand, so I'm using my left hand to do the swatch because this one is covered with bronzer and foundation, and I wanted you to be able to see the true tone. And as I'm talking, this is starting to dry down and looking a little bit more on the matte side. So when you unscrew this, the part with the writing is the actual handle. I had it upside down. I thought the shorter end was the handle, but it's not. That's the inkwell part that holds the ink. And it comes with a really kind of tiny, more precise pointed brush applicator there, as you can see. I'm going to take my time with this and not try to rush. I'm going to do a very thin line, as I typically do with my eyeliners, really close to the root of my lash. Okay, so that went on pretty easily. I will say that since I do like to lay my liner down against the skin, my lashes do graze the applicator and the actual wand that holds the applicator end. So I do get a little bit of that formula on the lashes, and that may happen to you if you lay this down versus going like this, where you're kind of lifting the applicator away from the skin. But if you lay it down, you're going to get it on your lashes a little bit, so go back with your finger and remove it before it dries. This is a longwear formula, and if it dries onto your lashes, it may interfere with the way your mascara looks. Just a tip there. But I do think that this is really easy to apply. I feel like the ink flowed really nicely from the tip onto my skin and gave me a nice even line, which I'm surprised because typically with these, I'm not the best and it's going to be jagged and bumpy and uneven, but I think I did pretty decent for my first go at a dip liner in a very, very long time. We're talking, it's been years since I used a liner this style. So all I have to do is tight line and mascara, but as it's drying, I feel like that shade is going to be fine to pair with that. So you can see how those look. It's like a darker brown. Mascara and tight liner are done. I use the newer smoky liners from e.l.f. to tight line in the shade French Rose, which I've already reviewed these. I've posted that video already. These are actually really nice. It's a $3 eyeliner, so it's a fairly new addition to the e.l.f. line, and I use that to tight line. And then I did the full-time Color Stay mascara from Revlon. This is the best mascara they've ever done, hands down. This is so good, and that's the look for today for the eyes. Let's go into that Maybelline Lifter Gloss from the Honey collection to try it out. This is the shade called Toffee, and there is a little bit of a kind of sweet, slightly honey-like scent, which smells kind of nice. I'm not a big fan of honey-scented things. I actually don't even like honey that much. I know, call me crazy. I just don't like the flavor of it. A little bit in my teas here and there, sure, but I'm not a fan of honey flavored things or scents. That's what that color looks like. And I'm just gonna go ahead and apply this directly onto my lips. All I have on is just a little bit of residual clear lip balm on. So let's go ahead and do this one. And this is the Lifter Gloss in the shade Toffee. And of course, as with all the other Lifter glosses, this feels really comfortable, feels luxurious, slightly on the thicker side, but not goopy. It's not too thin. It's a really nice formula. I love the way these feel. I have several of these in my collection. And actually, I do like this shade. It has a little bit of a kind of brown hint to it, but when you put this on, it looks really pretty. Now pair this with a lip liner and it'll give you a full lip look, but I am a fan. But then we also have some new lip products from L'Oreal. They've been launching a couple new things lately and I'm here for it. So let's go ahead and read the description on the Ulta site for these new lip products. So these new lip products from L'Oreal, they're called the Infallible Lacque Resistant Liquid Lipstick. These are $13.99 each. There's 11 options to choose from on the Ulta app. And it's the Resistant Liquid Lipstick delivers one swipe, transfer resistant bold color for up to 16 hours. Get lacquer-like shine in 11 shades. Go to details and under there you'll see some bullet points. It says the 16-hour wear, film forming technology, transfer resistant and all day comfort shine finish, available in multiple shades in a lightweight feel, bold color payoff and one effortless swipe with ultra precise liner applicator. Shake the bottle for at least 5 seconds before applying and allow to dry. Infuse with squalane. So sounds good. Do you know what these remind me of based off of the description? I haven't tried these yet, by the way. The lip products from Maybelline, the vinyl ink, vinyl something, where it's like intense color, but it dries down and it's a long wear, but it gives you a gloss finish. Those are actually pretty cool. I have a couple shades of those, but I ended up picking some shades that are a little bit deeper. So they weren't like my favorite go-to shades. So these seem promising. So I ordered 601, which is Worth It. I love the Worth It shade in all of their lip products. And this looks like it could be a little bit different. Now we'll see what happens on the inside, but this component looks just a little bit warmer and not as pink as the Worth It shade in some of the other lip products. And then I also ordered number 600, Les Nouveau Rose. So that's 600 and then 601. So let's give them a good shake. 5 seconds. Here is shade 601, Worth It. And then here is shade 600, Les Nouveau Rose. And looking at the swatches, these colors, absolutely yes. But that rose shade, number 600, is definitely calling my name as an everyday type of shade. But this one, the Worth It, is a little bit deeper than the Worth It in the lipstick, Worth It in the liner, and also their plumping gloss. It's a little bit deeper, of course, because the formula is a little bit different, but that looks beautiful. Now to decide one of these colors for the day, I think I'm going to go with the one that's a little bit more pink, number 600, Les Nouveau Rose. I think that kind of cool color goes with the cool tones of the eye look today. We'll use this Worth It shade, which is slightly more warm, in the next video, because I do have some other things to try out, and some of the eye colors that I want to use are a little bit warmer, so I think that'll be a nice pairing for that. So let's do 600 Les Nouveau Rose today. And this is shade 600 Les Nouveau Rose. My first thoughts when applying this color was immediate yes. I love this shade. I want this shade in a lipstick. Now I'm gonna let this kind of hang out and continue to dry. I feel like it's starting to feel a little sticky, so maybe that's part of the process of the dry down. But the color is beautiful. The applicator is absolute perfection. And I don't know if I showed you that applicator up close, but it is very thin. And the tip of it is rounded, so it's perfect to get right on the edge, which you need something very precise when it comes to a long wear formula. The applicator is just as important as the formula because it's going to give you the control that you need, especially when you're skipping other products like a lip liner underneath, for example. When you do long wear products, anything that you put on underneath or on top is going to alter that formula. So you kind of want to put something like this directly onto bare lips. So that applicator is ideal for getting right on the edge to give you that shape, that dimension, and that contour that you're looking for. And I love this color, and I'm excited to try the Worth It shade in a separate video. We'll do that. Maybe tomorrow I'll film that and kind of show you guys what that looks like. But this color is absolutely beautiful. It's a really nice kind of cool tone pink shade, but it's still quite nude. It's not too light, but it's also not too bright and bubblegum. It's not too pastel. I feel like it's just right. And the shade range looks absolutely beautiful. There are some deeper tones, there's some reds. They just made a nice selection of colors with this new product. And this is the end result for today. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below what you think of these products. How did I do with today's look? And just from my personal experience with these products and my thoughts right now, I do like how everything turned out. We'll kind of monitor the skin ink to see if this stays like this, because this actually looks really nice. You see a little bit of glow, but that's from that Morphe cream blush that we put on. It's not necessarily from this product from L'Oreal. I like the colors. I like the eyeshadow. It was a pretty simple look, kind of like my everyday kind of vibe is just one look to do something simple on the eyes, one shadow, or maybe a little bit of extra in the crease like we did today, and a nice nude lip. So again, no complaints today. I'm going to kind of share with you my thoughts in the description box as the day goes on. I'll kind of monitor this and let you guys know how this wears. But I do like how everything looks, and I hope that this video was helpful. Stay tuned because we're going to do more new makeup testing. I've got so much to share with you, so I'm going to start breaking these things up into separate videos. So subscribe, hit that notification bell. I post every Tuesday and every Friday, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. I hope you take some time to check out some of my other videos. Subscribe if you haven't. If you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for all of your love and support. It means more than you'll ever know. Thanks for being here, for being you. I will catch you soon in my next video. Take care. Bye-bye.